Hello there, folks. So this quick video today is going to talk about an interesting application for a customer. We have a situation where we've got an HMI pulling a VFD device, and for some odd reason, the customer would prefer to not have the HMI pull that VFD for after 10 seconds or so of it up and running. So if I show you something here, I got a Crimson database here open running, and I have not a database but a web page, and then I also have this one here. This one is acting as my Modbus slave device, and this one here is the one that's pulling it. So what I'm going to do here, let me go back and show you Crimson. Over here in communications, I'll just show you. I've got under protocol 1, I've got it set up as a Modbus master. And underneath there, I've got that G09 device talking to it, got the IP address and so forth. And then if I go to data tags over here, I just have one tag called tempf that is mapped to a register in that thing, and right now, that's all I'm showing on the screen. Well, if I go back to communications, I want you to notice something here. When I click on that one device right here, you see right here in Crimson, right here it'll tell you a device number. If you add more of these, you'll get device 3, 4, whatever. It'll go up. But this is currently device 2. Well, I've got it set up for enabled right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over data tags, and I'm going to create a flag tag, and I'm going to rename this guy, for instance, CTRL underscore device underscore number 2. Okay? So it's just an internal tag. If I go to the Triggers tab, I'm going to say Active On, and over here in the right side, down here in the system, you can see, team, that I've already got expanded the functions tree, and I've expanded the comms block. And in comms block, right here, there's a function called ControlDevice. So if you ever want to know what most of these functions do, you can always right-click on them, and some of them you can click on the Show Help Info, and it should open up the PDF that talks about this. So this thing, ControlDevice, will turn on and off a device. This is the device number here, and you put a 0 or 1 here to turn it on and off. So watch what I do here. I'm going to take this function, and I'm going to drag and drop it right here. But instead of it being device number 0, I'm going to change that to a 2, and then I want to turn it on, so I'm going to change the 0 to a 1. That should be the on. So when I turn this thing off, if I hit the same thing, I'm going to go here, choose Active Off. I'll drag the control device, whoops, by the way, you can also type it, but I'll drag it right here, and I'm going to go ahead and change this here to a 2, and hit Enter. And I'll let the 0 stay. Notice, team, I always hit Enter. It turns blue. That means it accepted it. Okay, so let's see if this works. If I go over here to Display Pages on the left, and then I'll go to the right side, Data Tags. I'll drag this guy out here just for giggles. And, of course, I can make this a data entry by just clicking one time and the ghosted box comes up. This button right here will turn on or off data entry. That's one way. Or I prefer more of a toggle switch. So I'll go to the right side and go to Primitives. I'll go to the home directory, my Primitives. If I come down to the 2-state toggles, I got all kinds. I'm going to grab this one here. I'll drag it out here like this. And I'll maybe make it a little bigger like this. Let me double click on this to go to the properties. I'm going to get rid of this here area here by disabling the aspect ratio. And then I'm going to go to the right side and go to data tags on the right side, because I need to drag this tag right here into this field here. So I'll just grab this guy. Boom. So when I hit it above the halfway point, it should turn it on. And if I hit this below the halfway point, it should turn it off. So I'll click OK. I think we're ready to test this, so let me go ahead and download it to my screen. And there we are, we're updating. Okay, so look, it's updating, it's running. If I turn this on, it's already on. You might scratch your head, well, why was it working? Well, this trigger hasn't executed until I do something. So it's on now. If I turn it off, look, dashed lines, turn it on, it works. Off, dashed lines. Well, that's great, but the customer, he wants this thing to always start up in the off position. So as I was testing this team, I originally had went over here to communications, and I thought I could disable this here. Notice I get the X, and I thought I could use that tag to turn it on. No, this actually disables it completely in the database. So what I did is I left this as a yes, but I went over here to display pages, and then if I click on the word pages right here, then notice on the global tab, I have a section right here called on startup. So I think if I go over here to system, I'm going to drag this same control device out here, and I'm going to make this device number 2, so I'll change that 0 to a 2. Boom, leave it like that. Now my theory is on startup, whenever I go to download this or cycle power to the unit, this should be off. Right now you see it, I can manually turn it on and off. So I'm going to leave it on here. Let's go ahead and download this to the screen. So I'll hit the Shazam button. There it goes. And we should see our web browser pull up. And look, it is currently off. If I turn it on, so there I'm manually doing it. By the way, I'm not going to show it in the video, but I did test this during power down, and if I power the unit down, it does stay off until I manually turn on, so that's perfect. Now what the customer really wants to do is he wants after 10 seconds for this thing to automatically turn on. So I'm thinking, well, what if I go, I can do it there. I'm going to go here to programs, and I'm going to write a program that says if, let's say here, if space my counter space is greater than or equal to 10. If that happens, then we'll go to the next line. I'll do an open brackets, and I'll say 2 tabs, and I'll say turn on device, and then I'll enter, and I'm going to go over here to the right. I'm going to grab this same function. I'll drag it out here, and I think I've got to put in 2, comma, space 1, and I don't know if I need a space. Maybe I'll get rid of the space. And I'll put my cursor out here, and I'll go there, and then I'm going to do close brackets, and then I'm going to do this. I'm going to say my counter is equal to my counter plus 1. So, and it should keep counting. So I'm going to go ahead and compile this program. Now watch, this is going to sound interesting, but it's going to bark at me because I don't have a variable called my counter. So I'm going to hit this here. Watch. It's going to freak out. No big deal. I'll say yes. Okay, now it compiled. It's green. And I'm going to rename this program here. Instead of program 1, I'm going to rename it delayed start, for instance. You don't have to do that, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go over here to display pages. And in the on tick field here, I'll go to programs over here. I'm going to drag delayed start right here. Okay, that looks good. And then I think just for giggles, I'm going to click on page 1 here. And I want to see if this is going to work. I'm going to grab the counter out here. And we're going to look and see if this guy gets to number 10. Does it automatically turn on? So let's go ahead and make this a little bigger. Okay, I think I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and download to our screen. And let's see what happens here. So there's the counter. So in theory, after 10 seconds, it should turn it on. If I did something right, let's see. Well, it turned it on there. Now you might ask yourself, well, how come this didn't go on? Well, the reason this didn't go on is because I was using the function to turn this on. This is tied to the tag. So to be honest with you, if you want to really be cool here, I'm going to go back to here, maybe fix that by going over here to programs. Well, yep, I'll do it right here. I'm going to go right in here. Oh, this ought to be interesting. Well, let's see what happens here. I'm going to drag this tag out here, and I'll make it equal to a 1 at that juncture. Let's see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and enable it here and download it to the screen. I ponder a thought here, but now let's watch. And I'll tell you my thought here in a second. When it gets to 10, it should turn on, and the tag went on. See that? But here's my thought for another video. I'm not going to do it in this one, but what if I turn this off? Well, look, if I turn it off, you see it goes right back on because the program here is currently running every 10 seconds. So really what I should do is after my counter gets to 10, we shouldn't really run this anymore. How could we do that? Well, could we go up here? Let's see here. If it's greater than 10, I'll leave that for another video. Anyway, that's just a quick way, team, to do a delayed polling of a device. You can either manually control it with the function ControlDevice, or, well, I'm actually manually controlling it, but I'm using the timer to count to 10 seconds for that thing to restart after that. So, anyway, hey, thanks a lot. Have a great day, folks.